Inter fans, it's Matchday Hype. I'm Gaia Cotton. I'm ready to talk about the next match. But as always, obviously, I'm not alone because with me there is my partner in crime, Thomas Lawrence. What's up, Thomas?
Hello, Gaia. I'm all good. Thank you very much. As you said, we're here to talk about Benfica Inter in our usual pre-match show, Matchday Hype. I'm delighted to be here. Massive shout out to everyone that's following us, all our international fans for Matchday Hype. It's a massive fixture. We've got loads and loads to talk about. So yeah, let's start the show.
Oh, yes, of course. Our guys are already left.
True.
They took the flight to Lisbon. I think we are ready to take a seat.
Let's take a seat. Let's sit down
As
together.
always, you know.
Because I'm also getting old, Gaia. I'm getting old. I've got a bad back. I need to sit down.
Talk about yourself.
Exactly. I'm talking about me, not you. You're very young, a young, sprightly figure.
I'm playing, but, you know, we need to take our time to talk in the best way possible about this match that will not easy, obviously.
No, not at all.
But we're ready. Do you feel ready?
I feel ready, and as you said, Guy, the boys have already left. Simone Inzaghi's men have left for Lisbon. Tomorrow, obviously, the big fixture, the first leg of this quarter-final showdown. As always, in the control room, we've got Marco Secchi, and we've got also Marco on, this our sound engineer, who's doing a fantastic job. And bringing up the footage right away, like, you know, an assist from me, and they're scoring the goal and bringing up the footage for us. This is obviously the team leaving earlier today for their charter flight to Portugal. And of course, Guy, we're going back to Portugal, having played Porto in the round of 16, and now it's Benfica in the quarter-finals for this final 8 fight. There's also a bit of history between the two clubs, but we'll talk about that in a bit as we can see the boys. I think this is Edin Dzeko leading the way. And Guy, you've been on lots of flights with the team too.
This is one of the best moments for me during the trip. The moment when you take a flight, even if I have to admit that I'm a little bit scared when I'm flying, but it's okay. It's okay. But this is one of my favorite moments because everybody are focused and you don't know what will happen, you know, but it's like you are starting a new adventure. I don't know, what do you think about it?
But no, it's true, but this is what I was just saying, because you're used to taking lots of flights with the first team this season. You've been, and also last season as well, you travelled with the squad.
We travelled also together.
Also together last season, and I've been on a few flights. I've been privileged, like yourself, to be on a few away trips, European trips with Inter. And you're right, Guy, it is a very special moment because there's all that excitement, that anticipation, the building up to the match. And because, as you said, anything can happen in that moment. So there's so much optimism, and that's always the way it is, especially before the game. And we're optimistic going into this match, Guy, because history is on our side. We've played Benfica in the past in the UEFA Cup in the noughties, and there's also one very special match in the Champions League, or what it was called back then, the European Cup in 1965. We have lots of history against Benfica, and tomorrow's going to be a new chapter between these two clubs. I don't know if we want to also go into more detail about the previous matches, the previous meetings, because, say, history's on our side.
Yes, of course. Thomas, we have a special video that talks exactly about this story. So let's watch it. '65, 27th of May. What a game.
Very special fixture, very special fixture. Jair scoring the only goal of that match. And the second, as you were about to say, second European Cup.
The second in a row, the second European Cup in a row, and the only time, as you said, that Inter faced Benfica in the European Cup. So it's a great memory, but it's also a great memory some years later.
Many years ago. We weren't born, obviously. We're not that
because
old.
This was another incredible game with a lot of incredible plays.
Absolutely.
Inter was losing, and then, you know, soccer shows a lot of time that everything can happen.
anything can happen. And as you said just a few moments ago, it was a special period because Inter won the European Cup for the second year and having beaten Real Madrid the year before on the same date, by the way. So the end of May, and then to win at San Siro, at the Piazza in Milano, in front of our fans, thanks to Jair. So a very special memory. And there's also the memory also saw of the UEFA Cup fixture back in 2003, 2004 in the round of 16. We saw those goals from Martins, from Recoba and from Christian Vieri. But that is the past, and we are now focusing on the future. We are looking ahead, the present and the future, because the future is now, and it is Benfica-Inter.
Of course, and talking about the present, Benfica reached the quarter-finals for the second time in a row.
Yep.
Inter, after 12 years, is a...
It's a long time.
It's a long time, but we here where we deserve, as we already said a lot of times. So we are ready to talk about the next match. We are ready to talk about the Benfica-Inter, and we do it with this video. Okay, Thomas, now we are officially ready. We face Benfica. It will be, as always, a tough match with a team who scored like 23 goals.
Correct, correct, 23.
Only Naples did better.
Correct.
And Inter, in an offensive situation, is not doing great.
No.
But we know also that we have the experience to get through this moment and to face a team like this.
Absolutely. I think you've hit some correct themes there. Benfica are a side that play really exciting football and they're scoring for fun. Only, as you said, only the Azzurri, only Napoli have scored more this season in the Champions League, which is very impressive, which shows we have to be attentive. On our side, we're creating lots of chances, but we've just struggled in recent weeks to have that cutting edge. We're not clinical enough. The goals have dried up, so we know we need to rediscover our clinical touch in the final third of the pitch tomorrow when we take on Benfica, a side that, just like us, deserves to be here at the final 8 stages. We can also see just behind us here as well the route to the final, the road to Turkey on our side of the draw. Obviously, if we were to go through, we could play a Serie A side, Milan or Napoli, but we'll think about that further down the line. Then on the other side of the draw, obviously Real, Chelsea and Man City, Bayern. But of course, our focus naturally, guys, is on Benfica-Inter. We're going to talk shortly. I'm going to have a bit of a focus as well on who could be some of the key players for this match, because we've picked out who we think could be the danger men on both sides, of course, for Benfica and Inter. But overall, and as that video we saw a few moments ago, I think there's just so much excitement now ahead of this very important fixture, because you said it's been 12 years since Inter been in the final 8 of the Champions. It's a long, long time. Inter used to being at this stage, and I think you used a good word, the experience. Inter do have experience. They've got experienced players used to winning big prizes, big trophies, whereas Benfica, although they've played really well, perhaps one of their weak areas could be that they don't have players that have this kind of experience at this level. So I think experience could be a big factor in this draw.
And also about experience, talk Schmidt,
yes,
their coach, because in an interview today he said, okay, doesn't matter the period that the Inter is living in the Italian Championship, because, okay, we know that we are not living such a great period because of the standing, because of the last matches, because our offensive situation. But doesn't matter because of our history, because of our experience, because he knows that our players know how to play this type of tough matches. So, you know, Champions League is completely a different story.
It is, yeah.
We already show against Porto that we won home, and then we handle the situation when we play there. And we can also have to say that Benfica, is true that they are the first of the standing in their championship.
Correct, yeah.
But it's also true that Friday they lost against Porto. So it will be also important the approach of the game and their reaction to this loss.
Absolutely. I think that's an interesting factor as well. They go into this having lost the Portuguese Clásico against Porto, their big rivals. Despite actually taking the lead in that match, Porto came back and won that game 2-1. They also lost through injury Alexander Bauer, the Danish fullback, and he's going to be a big loss. They also don't have Otamendi, who's going to be suspended for the first leg of this match. So some key players who will be missing out. It'll be interesting to see how they react mentally after that loss. But as you said, they've still got a very big advantage in the Portuguese Championship. They're still top of the pack, whereas we know we're going through a difficult spell in Serie A. We've struggled in terms of the results and scoring the goals, so it's not an easy period for Simone Inzaghi and Inter. But we do have that European pedigree we've shown this season also, Guy, and we've said this many times, in the big matches, the Super Cup against Milan, against Napoli in Serie A, against Barcelona, against Porto, the match you mentioned earlier, that Inter really do rise to the occasion. And we can see it in these results in the Champions League as well this season, Guy, our run to the quarterfinals.
Yes, yes, completely agree with you, Thomas. And if we think about some months ago, I mean, our group, it wasn't easy, but Inter showed that we can beat Barcelona. We can reach the quarterfinals. So these are our results. But yes, we have to think about the past, but we have just to start to look into the match of tomorrow.
Absolutely.
So, you know, knockout stage is different. So everything.
It is very different. It is very different, and this is where you said about the experience and European pedigree. European pedigree is an important word, an important thing, especially when it comes to Inter, because it's in our DNA to be part of these big occasions, as it is, of course, for Benfica as well. So that's what makes this such a fascinating contest between two European heavyweights, as you can see behind us as well. The footage of the stadium, where, of course, tomorrow this big match, the atmosphere at the Delus will be incredible.
On fire.
Fiery atmosphere, and naturally, of course, because the Portuguese fans are going to try and make it difficult for Inter, and they're going to naturally, as we will then do when the return leg we played at the Meazza, and we'll be having our supporters there, our 12th man, to help us. But this is some stunning footage as well, where obviously this venue, it's the perfect venue, Guy, and obviously, as I mentioned, we're hoping that maybe history can repeat itself, because having won the previous matches against Benfica, having won our last outing against a Portuguese opponent in Porto in the round of 16. I mean, these are all minor things that I suppose as Inter tifos, as Inter fans, we look to as well. But you never know, they can perhaps give you that edge when you go out onto the pitch tomorrow, because obviously we are aiming for the semi-finals, but we know, of course, we have this very tough obstacle against Benfica. You mentioned Roger Schmidt there. It's in his first season. He's on course to lead Benfica to a first title, a Portuguese title, since 2018-19. So it's been many years since they've won their championship. So Roger Schmidt's done an incredible job. So is Rui Costa, obviously, behind the scenes in the director role. So they're doing really well, both on and off the pitch. So, of course, let's remind you, it's not going to be simple. So Benfica came through a very tough group, Gaia, in Group H, with the likes of Juventus, the likes of PSG, Maccabi Haifa, and then, of course, in the round of 16...
they never lost.
Yeah. Exactly.
So, in your opinion, Thomas, how this team can be so dangerous?
That's, again,
which
a
is
really
the
good
key,
question.
Because they have a strong midfielders, or because we will talk about João Mario.
João Mario is one of those big players,
Yes, later we will talk also about his stats that are incredible. But do you think that he is the key player? Do you think that he is the secret about this incredible,
this incredible run, I think João Mario really is, he's one of the pillars of this side, and he's had an incredible journey, an incredible progress, because obviously Inter fans will remember João Mario, guy who played at Inter and arrived into back in 2016 on the back of Portugal's Euro triumph against France. Big expectations, but for one reason or another, it didn't quite work out for him here at Inter. Then he went away, he played various loan spells elsewhere before then going back to Portugal. And perhaps maybe he's find his right dimension at Benfica, playing in behind the striker. He's scoring goals for fun, he's creating goals. He just seems to be the leader of this side, and he's, as I said, had remarkable progress since departing from Inter, and since the João Mario the Inter fans got to know almost 10 years ago now. So he is going to be one of the key players, but he's not the only one, of course. They also have Gonçalo Ramos, they have Rafa Silva. I mentioned obviously no Otamendi, who's going to be suspended, but still they have a good squad that can come in. You look at the likes of Julian Draxler as well. I know could be out injured, but still players who have been there and done it. So they cannot be underestimated, as you said, Guy. They cannot be underestimated because they haven't lost. Before that loss to Porto, they'd gone 10 games in a row without defeat. They won all those matches. So they are a side that cannot be underestimated. They're a side that wants to progress in this competition. They want to keep impressing. You mentioned Roger Schmidt as well, again, earlier, some of his comments. He said the right thing. He said, listen, I know Inter are perhaps struggling a little bit in Serie A, but, you know, this is a different competition. The Champions League is a different competition. And Inter have shown that this season, Guy, because, you know, we've mentioned the results against Barcelona, the performance against Porto. I'd say the second match against Bayern Munich as well, that Inter, okay, in Serie A this season, highs and lows being consistent, but in Europe, Inter have been fantastic. So I think it's something that applies for both sides, both Inter and Benfica. Neither side can underestimate each other tomorrow.
And on Inter side, what will be the key? Because we usually talk about, as you say, probabili formazioni, but
the probable lineups, yeah.
Today we don't use it just because they really didn't spoiler anything.
No.
I said, today their coach, just to joke, said, I don't say anything about probabili formazioni. Only if you talk about probabili formazioni of Inter, I could say something, but okay, I don't talk about it. But even about Inter, what will be, in your opinion, your probabile formazione?
Well, it's again a really good question, because obviously we don't have naturally official team users. There's still a day to go, and the side just went through their final training session here at the Sunderland Training Centre earlier today before departing for Portugal. What we do know is there's no Skriniar, there's no Çalhanoğlu. We obviously hope to have Chala back for the return leg at San Siro later on this month, and we hope to have Skriniar back as soon as possible as well.
was the MVP of round 16 for Inter, so we remind this to our fans, even if I think that they didn't forget it. But
they'll be aware of it, but it's right to remind it because it shows what a great season and what a key player Çalhanoğlu has been, guys. So you're quite right to remind everyone that, again, he was man of the match in the round of 16 for the Nerazzurri. So we know Inter have some players who are missing out, but at the same time, we know that we have a full strength attack to choose from. So there's Lautaro, there's Dzeko, there's Lukaku, there's Correa, there's Venticamera. So we have lots of options to choose from in attack. Same goes in midfield as well, barring, of course, Çalhanoğlu, because we now have Asllani. Now we saw him do really well against Sanitano. We've got Marcelo Brozovic, we've got Mkhitaryan, and when I think of Mkhitaryan, I think of experience as well at this level. Barella, I know we're going to chat a little bit about Barella later on, so I don't want to talk too much about him at the moment. But then out wide, the likes of Dumfries. We saw, I think, Di Marco a few moments ago in that footage, that training clip that's being played behind us as well at the moment. Darmian as well, who's such a versatile player who can play in defence or in midfield. We have this man here, Alessandro Bastoni, who's a key player. You asked me a few moments ago, what can maybe be the key tomorrow? Well, I would say someone like Bastoni, because what I think, guys, that Inter need to go there, of course, need to be tight and solid, but they also need to take the initiative. They need to know when to push forward, when to try and attack. And someone like Bastoni, building from the back, is a key player, just like in midfield. Someone like Marcelo Brozovic, someone like maybe an attacker in Dzeko, who's we also often say he's a bit like a 9.5. He's neither a 9 or a 10, because he can play in that role where, as Italians say, trequartista, an attacking midfield role. So I think it's key that Inter know when to sit back, know when to be compact, know to be tight, but at the same time have to try and take that initiative tomorrow and try and get a goal, because we want to go back to San Siro for the return with a positive result, and be in the driving seat going into the return meeting.
Of course. Maybe the key is something that we always repeat, but I will never be tired to say that the key is the team, is the group,
spirit, yeah.
is the experience of the team. When we reach the victory is always when we build something as a team.
Yeah.
So yes, we need the experience of Brozo, we need the creativity of Bare, we need a lot of things, a lot of factors,
yes.
but the key is always the team.
It's always team spirit, absolutely, 100% right. Otherwise, we wouldn't have reached this stage, because individuals can help you only get so far. It's working as a collective unit, as one. And I think obviously Simone Inzaghi, when he speaks in his press conference later on this evening, will say the same thing, that obviously you need a team effort to play as he likes to quite rightly say, la vera Inter, the real Inter, the true Inter, the Inter that we've seen on so many occasions this season. Whereas, again, we're seeing some of our footage. This is our footage, guys, exclusive footage from earlier today, the team's final training session here at the Suning Training Centre before they left. It's a glorious day here at Appiano Gentile, and we're hoping it's going to be a glorious evening tomorrow for us in terms of the result and the performance against Benfica. And again, we can see from these footage, you know, the boys are feeling good, relaxed, focused, because you also need to go into, you know, you can't be too hyped. Matchday hype, you can't be too hyped, but at the same time, you can't go into it, you know, too relaxed. And from this footage, you can see there's a good spirit, a team spirit, as you mentioned. The lads determined to work together as one and try and reach this objective, which would be a semi-final berth in the Champions League. That's the objective, that's the aim, especially when you get this far, Guy, because again, the draw has also been, you know, very favourable compared to the other side. So I think a lot of Inter fans believe that we can go all the way, but naturally, we have to get over this obstacle of Benfica. And to do that, to quote you again, teamwork.
Yeah, they have to smile. They are playing one of the best sports in the
Absolutely,
world, so they are blessed.
They're very fortunate, very fortunate indeed, like us as well, of course.
Okay, Thomas, before we were talking about João Mario and Barella, because this is the duel that we want to talk today to introduce the match. We decide this duel, there will be a lot of duels, but this will be, in our opinion, one of the most interesting duels. Okay, so we can say that João Mario is doing amazing in this season. I don't know if they can help me with the stats, because we have a good graphic with the stats of João Mario and Barella, because he scored a lot. He's doing assists. He is creating a lot. Passing accuracy are. Here
it is right now. Thank you very much
Here we are.
to the control room, as always.
6 goals in Champions League, 2 assists, 85% of passing accuracy, and 8 matches played. I mean, these stats are making the difference for Benfica. And he's doing good even in a championship. He's scoring like more than 20 goals in total. So this player is really making the difference. On the other side, we have Nicolò. Okay, maybe the numbers are fewer, are not the same, but we know him, we know how much he plays with art, we know his creativity, we know him as a player, and I remember him in Camp Nou in Barcelona. I was there. Yeah. And what I hope is to see Bare on the pitch with the eyes of tiger, and I know that everything can be good for Inter when it happens.
Absolutely, we want to see the Barella that we all know and that we've seen on plenty of occasions this season, not just season, of course, his whole Inter experience, that eye of that tiger, the determination, that kind of new camp spirit as well, away to Barcelona where he was one of the star players that evening for us, Guy. And we picked out this head-to-head because we feel, you know, the midfield is a key area. It's the midfield that will make the difference as well. Tomorrow we saw some of those very impressive numbers from João Mario, and that just goes to sum up what we were saying, the progress that he's made and how much he's sort of just come on leaps and bounds in recent seasons, and he's one of the leading players for Benfica, as we saw from some of those numbers, and we have to watch him closely. But as you said, Barella likewise will equally go toe-to-toe with him in this this match, and they're two players that can make a difference in terms of their ability to make those runs from deep, make the difference at both ends of the pitch, the so-called box-to-box performance, especially when it comes to Barella, because I think with João Mario we're going to see him play a little bit further up the pitch. And this goes back to what we were saying about the progress that he's made. João Mario, when he first sort of came to Inter, was more playing in that sort of holding midfield role, more like a playmaker role. But he's certainly progressed now and kicked on and shown this more offensive side, as we saw from some of those numbers a few moments ago. So João Mario has to be one that we have to watch closely. But he's not the only one. As mentioned, some of those names are like the likes of Rafa Silva, Ramos. So that it's not just João Mario, but we do feel he is one of those key players, and I think Roger Schmidt tomorrow will be looking to him to lead the way. And, of course, as an ex of this match, João Mario, of course, and look to him to say, well, I don't want to call it a case of getting revenge against his former employers, but maybe having that little extra spark, that little motivation, a bit like when we saw when he faced Juventus in the group stages. The fact he's playing another Serie A club, having played in Serie A, maybe a case of just, maybe trying to raise that level a little bit more because he's playing against, in this case, a former employer and wanted to show what he can do.
Thomas, we talk about stats and I have a video.
Brilliant.
Talks about stats in Champions League thanks to UEFA. So let's watch it.
Important block by Skriniar, comes in, Onana's there, and he saves it again.
Good save from Onana.
He did really well there, the goalkeeper.
We can say without a doubt now, Benfica are in front. They are unrelenting.
It's just so ruthless, aren't they?
Inter digging in. We've been watching an Italian defending masterclass.
Incredible, absolutely incredible.
Here's João Mario. He lines up the shot for number 6. João Mario has his goal. Roger Schmidt's team totally and utterly outclassing their opponent. A glorious rush of red.
Two clubs with a rich history in this competition over many years.
There was no denying Benfica their place in the quarter-finals.
Over it comes, and the header against the post, Lukaku! Inter into the quarter-finals.
Okay, everything looks clear.
A lot clearer thanks to that video and some of those stats, which confirm what we're saying, that it's not going to be easy tomorrow.
I expect a great match tomorrow, and we have also a lot of guests, as always. For this episode of Matchday Hype. But before to start to talk with the first one, maybe Nicola Barella could come here so we can say,
He's heard you. He's right here in the studio, quite right, because we've been chatting about him, talking about this head-to-head perhaps tomorrow with João Mario. So thank you very much, Nick, for joining us in the studio.
And good luck for the match.
Best of luck, naturally, of course, for the big game tomorrow. We know you won't let us down, Nick, because the big occasions you often rise to the fore, and we're looking forward to seeing you in action. Of course, again, we're assuming that he'll start tomorrow. We don't have confirmation as yet, but it's very likely, seeing the way he's been performing, especially in the recent weeks as well, that Nick will be starting tomorrow for Simone Inzaghi's men. So thank you very much, as always, Nicola Barella.
Okay, how do you feel, Thomas?
I feel good. I feel good because the more I talk about the match, the more, for me, I'm very perhaps different to some people. The more I chat about it, it relaxes me because it gets me, you know, focused on the game. I think talking about it helps me. I'm that way. I don't know about yourself.
Too. I feel relaxed too. I think you can
Tell.
see it. Oh,
yeah, I
okay,
can tell you're
yes,
enjoying it as well. Also being
As
live
always.
on Matchday Hype and live on YouTube and with our international fan base, which
No,
is always nice.
I'm joking because I'm never relaxed. So, no, I am a liar. No, I'm not relaxed. But anyway, we are ready to introduce our first guest.
Brilliant. Who is it?
You know, we have a lot of interclub, that we are international. So, Bernard of Interclub Austria. Take a seat, Thomas.
Oh, let's sit down. Let's take a sit down so we can have a nice chit-chat with our first guest of this evening. So, I'll let you do the honours,
Bernard.
of course. Are you there? Is he there?
Hello, guys. I'm here.
Brilliant. Hello.
Brilliant.
Guten Abend. Guten Abend.
Nice to meet
Guten
you.
Abend.
I'm loving the shirt, by the way. I'm loving the shirt.
Yeah.
I managed to see
This one.
a little. That's the one from last season with the Scudetto on. I love it. Put it nice
Love
and
it too.
proud. Good, I like it. Nice and proud.
Thomas, you have to know that he is on vacation. He sent me today some pictures with the snow. That's correct?
I'm very jealous.
Where are you?
I sent you the pictures, but actually, I'm not on holiday. It's just an hour away from my home, so I'm not even on
okay.
holiday.
I
It's
thought
just,
you were
being
doing
lucky to
vacation.
live here.
I hoped for you that it was a vacation. So I just saw the snow. I said, oh, I would like to be there too.
Yeah.
but no. How are you, Bernard?
I'm very good, thank you. How about you?
Oh, we good. When Inter has to play, we are always good, in a good shape.
Oh, yeah. We're in a good mood always,
We feel great. But first of all, let me talk about your Interclub. Interclub Austria. How much people there are in your Interclub?
Yeah, our club is still pretty young. It was founded about, I think it was 4 years ago, pretty much exactly around the game versus Rapid Vienna back then. Back then we started with 25 members and now we're up to beyond 200 members. And our president, Lucas, who was not able to speak tonight, unfortunately, he was doing a good job in growing the club and he's really putting in a lot of effort and work and happy to be part of it.
That's awesome. That's absolutely really good to know that it's on the grow, this Inter club. But I want to chat though a little about yourself. How did you become an Inter fan? Where does this passion for the black and blue come from?
Yeah, I would say my passion for Inter actually grew when I was on holiday with my parents back then, like about 30 years ago.
Wow.
We've been at the Lago di Garda, and there's, as you might know, there's always those markets and shops with different shirts from the biggest clubs in Italy. And already back then I spotted one color that I really liked, and still my heart is beating black and blue. And it was back then as a young boy, and the clubs and the color are still fascinating me in the good and in the bad times. And yeah, I would say I really got into the a little bit deeper into the club when Inter beat Austria Salzburg in '94. I think it was the
cup
final.
UEFA Cup final, correct? Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah, it was the final, and in Austria this was a big thing because it's not happening very often that an Austrian club end up in any final. So I was already having my heart tainted black and blue, but you know, in this time I would say that the passion grew even further.
That's brilliant. That's absolutely brilliant. Yeah, I was going to say, if it was 30 years ago, it would be the mid-90s, so the likes of Zenga, Bergomi, Ferri, that kind of Inter, obviously Ruben Sousa as well. So a great era to start, and then obviously progress. I assume you were a massive Ronaldo fan as well, like most of our Inter club members.
Everybody.
Absolutely. I mean, if a player like El Fenomeno is joining your club and you are already supporting his club, it's just bringing joy to everyone. And he was definitely one of the players who is just was increasing our fan base, I would say.
Gaia?
Where you will watch the match tomorrow?
Oh, I hope we will do a watch along at the office of a friend of ours. We're after meeting there to see matches together, like would say about 5 to 10 people of the Austria club, the department of Tyrol, so the people living here are often meeting to see the games, and we actually have 100% record. So we still won every game we watch together in this special location. So we could really need it tomorrow.
Well, that's brilliant, because you may or may not know, Bernard, that the person sitting next to me is very superstitious. So she would love what you've just said. Yes, I'm talking about you, Miss Gaia Cotto.
Oh. No, yes, I have to admit it. I am superstitious. We always joke about that, Bernard, because Italian people are a little bit superstitious. But I learned last time from Walter Zenga the correct political answer. Okay, I don't need to be superstitious. I believe in our guys. So.
That's the correct answer. I think Zenga knows best, and I think Bernard will confirm that, being an Inter fan.
Strong mentality.
Doesn't need it.
No, yes, I'm superstitious, so let's do it tomorrow. We need it.
And on the subject of tomorrow, what kind of match are you expecting? Guy and I have been chatting a bit about it. We've obviously tried to pick out some of the key players on both sides. Naturally, João Mario, who Inter fans know very well, is one we've done a lot of focus on, but he's not the only key player and potential danger man. Tomorrow, Inter don't go into it in the best of form. However, as you'll know, Bernard, this season, Inter in the big matches have delivered the goods. So what kind of game are you expecting tomorrow when the two sides go head-to-head?
Yeah, well, we have all seen that Benfica is in a tremendous form. And you just talked about the immense season João Mario is having a couple of minutes ago. And he's definitely one of the cornerstones of their great season so far. I mean, they surprised PSG. They definitely surprised Juventus. And so I guess they should not surprise us anymore. It will be a tough game. They're in a great shape, and we're struggling a little bit. So I expect our guys to really show up tomorrow. I mean, they wanna show a good game. But to be honest, if we're going there and maybe even get a draw, wouldn't be too bad. Coming back home with a draw and maybe trying to win the game back home in the San Siro in front of 75,000 people, that would be something special.
I think, yeah, a positive result is the objective.
A reaction. We can say that we expect a reaction, okay?
Absolutely, absolutely. Bernardo, I was going to say io avevo un'altra domanda. I'm going back in Italian mode. It must be Gaia's presence. I have another question, if that's okay.
Parlare in italiano.
Let's do it in English, just because we're obviously for our international fans. But Bernardo, that's brilliant, because we know we can have you on an Italian show as well, if you speak Italian as well, which is brilliant. But I was going to ask another question. I was going to say, Marko Arnautovic being obviously in Austria international, having played obviously very briefly for Inter. I mean, he must be obviously a popular figure amongst Inter fans who reside in Austria.
Well, I would say he's like something. Some people love him, some people don't love him that much. So he's a bit of a figure. He's dividing people, I would say. He's a very, very outspoken person, So he's really. He's not, well, let's say, he's dividing people. I will put it that way. Yeah. I think he has been a great player for the Austrian national team, definitely. And I do think that he can still give a lot for teams, like teams that need a striker, even if he didn't have the best stretch lately, but of course with the injury and stuff. But he's definitely someone we all know, and we are all we all know that he's won the trouble with Inter. So
that's it.
Not too bad of a season.
Absolutely, Gaia.
You never been in San Siro? When is the last time that you came here?
Last time was in autumn. Let me think. I don't remember which game it was. I was at the last season game last year. We've been in the San Siro in May in the last game.
Against Sampdoria,
which didn't went our way. I mean, I try to get to the games like 2 or 3 times a season to see the games live, mostly in San Siro, of course. But as many of our members do, there's like plenty of our members in each game, more or less. So we can always say like 5 to 20 people are down there trying to see a game live every weekend.
Another one of the final questions, then obviously, sadly, we have to say auf Wiedersehen, arrivederci, bye, just to complete all the languages, Guy. Why not? I like to try and mix it up a bit. Do you have a favourite player?
Thomas, we call him the teacher.
The teacher, exactly. the maestro from time to time. No, I'm trying to be serious. And is there a favourite player having this current squad, Bernard? Someone that you obviously, love to watch?
Well, I do love to watch Barella because he's always having a special touch on the ball, and that's why I'm wearing his number on the back right now. But for my son, for example, I bought a shirt of Lautaro Martinez as well. So I would say, despite not having the best stretch lately, I would still say they are my 2 favorite players. And I've been an outspoken supporter of Di Marco already when he was at other teams when he was on loan. So I was eager to see him coming back because he's a special story with Inter. It's a special love story since the youth days, and I always loved that. So I would add him too. So those 3 guys are my favorites right now.
Yeah, no, that's it. I mean, that's hence the reason we focus a lot on Barella, obviously, in our matchday hype today. But I think you're right to pick out also the likes of Di Marco. You say special story because someone who's from Milano, grown up, loving these colours, rising through the youth ranks with the Inter Academy, and then obviously breaking into the first team and after really working hard for it, as you said, going out on loan, and it wasn't, guaranteed, it wasn't simple, but he really has made incredible progress and is really fulfilling his potential, and it's great to have him back in the squad as well. Bernard, shortly we'll be saying goodbye, but it's been brilliant to have you on the show. I know Guy has a few points as well before we say goodbye.
I know that it's difficult to pick up one player, so before to say goodbye, would you like to build your personal lineup, your favorite lineup?
Well, an all-time lineup, or
All-time lineup?
Or could it? No, sorry.
All time could be interesting. Yes, yes. Let's do it. All-time lineup of Bernard, Interclub Austria.
All-time lineup. I have to pick Julio Cesar.
Wow, I like it.
I have to pick Maicon. I have to pick Walter Samuel, the wall. I did love always to see Bergomi back there, of course. Capitano, Javi Zanetti, definitely on the left. Well, in the middle, if we go with our current formation, it would be a little bit different, but in all time, I have to go with more players in the midfield. I have to put in there Cambiaso. I have to put in there Mateos. There must be Wesley Sneijder for me, so I would go with the 3 in the mid. And then we have 3 strikers left, of course, El Phenomenon, top up. And I would also have, they're not really wingers, but I always loved Vieri because he has also the same birthday as me.
Oh, brilliant.
One of my favorites. So I have to put him in there. And then I would say Samuel Eto'o.
I know it wasn't simple putting you on the spot.
Not bad.
But you did. That was brilliant. Just put it out there that you've gone for a 4-3-3, some incredible players, and I like the idea of Julio Cesar as well because he's an ex of both Inter and Benfica, so he'll be watching curiously, no doubt, tomorrow.
Correct.
I love that fact about Christian Vieri as well. He's recently also been inducted into Inter's Hall of Fame as well, Bobo Vieri, who shares the same birthday as Bernard as well. And of course, Ronaldo.
This is the fact. This is the fact.
That's the fact to take from this show.
Okay, Bernard, thanks for being here. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Likewise.
Thanks to your president to help us, and good luck for tomorrow. Enjoy the game, and I hope to meet you soon in San Siro.
Would be a pleasure. Have a good day.
Thank you
Bye-bye.
very much.
Thank
See you
you.
soon, Bernard. Thank you so much. And Forza Inter. Forza
Bye,
Inter.
Forza Inter, and we can a big shout out to all the Inter fans of Inter Club Austria.
Yeah, absolutely.
Of
A big
course.
Hallo, wie geht's? And Auf Wiedersehen. And that's it. I'll stop there with my journey.
But surprises are not over.
Nope,
Maybe.
never.
Maybe. Is ready our second guest?
Is he ready?
I don't know. Okay, he's almost ready.
Okay.
He's almost ready. Okay, he's ready.
And who is our second guest, Gaia, for today?
The
After
second
chatting with
guest.
Bernard, who's the second one?
Marco Cartasegna.
Hello, Marco.
Hi.
Hi, good evening, guys. I'm very ready. I was listening to the previous guest and I was wondering what would be my dream 11. It's a tough question you asked him. Eh?
It was a tough question, and I might ask you the same question very shortly, so hopefully
you had time
you're
to
writing
prepare
it
the
down.
answer.
I don't think I'm ready.
No, I can't believe it. How
I
can
can
I
try, I can
introduce you, Marco, as a digital entrepreneur? Would you like this?
Yeah, I would say it fits the role perfectly.
Perfect. You have to know that he also has a lot of followers. He's
I've seen
always,
thousands of followers. Thousands, maybe more than you, Gaia.
No,
and you've got lots of
it's
followers.
easy
as
more
well.
than me.
No, come on, you've got
It's
lots of
easy.
followers, but Marco has a little bit more, I think.
No, a lot of more. It's easy more than me. Maybe.
Gaia doesn't have many. It's unfair. She deserves more.
Exactly. I agree. We all agree with that.
You know, Marco, one of my mission is that Thomas can finally subscribe Instagram. He doesn't have an account.
No, I'm okay for now. I'll leave it to
That's
Marco
a
and
shame.
Gaia.
You have to do it just to give one more follower to her and to me, if you want.
That's a good
To
point.
For
her.
me, it's easy,
That's
but
okay.
it's okay.
I can accept that.
But anyway, this to say that he's always to the stadium. He
Yep.
went to our Christmas party, if I remember well. He's always with us. He's
a super Interista.
huge Inter fan. And why? When you start to be an Inter fan?
Good question.
Since ever, I don't think you get to choose to be an Inter fan or not. You are born like that. Maybe you realize it at some point, but I believe you are born like that. And I think it's in the genes, no? It comes from my father. I have to say that my grandfather was a cousin
Okay.
of ours. So it doesn't always run in the genes, but in my case it did, and I got it from my dad. And I grew up in a very small village in the countryside, an hour away from Milan, and I can remember that my father. We didn't have Telepiù at the time. So I remember that my father would take me to watch the games at the local Inter club in Alice, and I would watch the game there where the average age, I think it was approximately 70 something years old, and then there was a small group of kids that would barely was barely able to watch the game on TV because of the amount of smoke, of people smoking the cigarettes and the pipe. It was charming, it was romantic, and that's where I remember watching the first games. I was probably 6-7 years old.
Yeah, a different era, Marco, a different era. But that's how you started becoming. And who was perhaps your
Don't say
favourite
this
player?
because I feel like old.
Well, no,
If
no.
you say different era.
It was a different- it
No,
was a
because
different
it was
era.
also my era. So
No, it's my era too,
It's your
maybe.
era and his era too. So just a few
We're talking
years
about,
ago.
96, 97.
Exactly, 96, 97. So it's
Not
it's
too far,
it's
not
our
too
era.
far.
Okay, Marco and my era, not
keep
your
going,
era.
keep
Yeah, I was
going,
going to say,
keep going.
who would have been one of your or some of your favourite players in that period, Marco?
The first one that comes to mind, it would be easy to say Ronaldo, and of course he comes to mind. I remember my father brought a T-shirt home from Ronaldo. He was saying that he wore it. I don't know if that's true or not, but it was Ronaldo, and that was enough for me. I would mention Djorkaeff. I would
Wow,
mention Moriero, Zamorano. Little later on, Ventola. I remember those, Alvaro El Chino.
And about the present, Inter of the present, there are some players
There's lots of
that
players, yeah.
you like more.
I'm a huge fan of Lauti. I remember going to La Pinetina the first season he was here, and he was almost unknown. And I remember people would ask, "Who's that guy?" And I remember to be completely impressed by what he would do in the training. And I was like, "This is phenomenal. This is guy is unbelievable," and I'm a huge fan of him. I like him a lot. I like his dedication, his passion. You can see that he feels the pain when things are not going as he would like things would go have to go, and so he's top of the list for him now for me now. But he's not the only one. I think we have some really good players. I like the season that Onana is playing. I think he's doing really great. Çalhanoğlu impressed me. I have to admit, when I heard that Çalhanoğlu was coming to Inter a couple of years ago, I wasn't particularly impressed, but he completely changed my mind. He's an amazing player. I think Brozovic is another amazing player. So we have several.
Absolutely, several players that, obviously, barring Çalhanoğlu, who will be missing out tomorrow, who Inter will be looking to against Benfica. And it's interesting what you say about Lautaro Martinez, because it's true that he goes into this match in a difficult period. But as you said there, Marco, he always gives 100% for the Inter cause. You know, that sort of Interismo. He's always fighting for the colours, even in the tough times. So I think that's a really good point that Marco makes there, Guy, about Lautaro Martinez, and also for the others as well, the likes of Chala as well, who came under, yeah, you're right, maybe a bit of scepticism, but he's really won around the Inter fans, and especially this season playing in that midfield role, the playmaker role, which normally has been Marcelo Brozovic's role. He's really grown and really impressed. So I think Marco makes some excellent points there.
I can remember last season when Brozovic. Last season, Brozovic skipped very few games, but the very few games that he skipped, I remember that Mr. Inzaghi was trying to substitute him with a different player every time. He tried Gagliardini, he tried
Vecino.
Vecino. He tried all of them, including Çalhanoğlu, and none of them last season was able to substitute Brozo in that role. I think that's the reason also why we got Aslani last summer, but Çalhanoğlu surprised everyone, playing in that role fantastically. I really hope that doesn't mean that we're gonna have to give up on Brozovic, because I believe Brozovic is one of the top players that we have. But Çalhanoğlu did something amazing substituting him.
Yeah, two top players. Top players.
Absolutely, I agree with you. But tell me how your experience at the stadium changed during these years, because he's always in the VIP area, Milano Lounge.
Not bad, nice.
No.
Each side, you know.
It didn't begin like that. That's the difference. It all started when I had no money. I'm not from Milan, so I used to come with my dad very few times when I was young. He would take me maybe once per year, and I was always so happy when he would take me, even though the games that we watched weren't always happy. I remember one game that we lost at home with a crazy goal by Jan Kulowski from Udinese, back in the days. Then I moved to Milan when I was 18, so 15 years ago, to study, and I had the opportunity to go to the stadium more often, and I went to the Curva. I went to the Secondo Verde, the second. I don't know how you say in English.
I think the Curva is an international term. Yeah.
I wasn't one of the craziest ones. I was a little bit on the side.
But the second one.
I would go with the Interclub Novi Ligure, so a little bit on the side. I would go there to watch the games until 6 or 7 years ago when I had the opportunity to start watching the game from Primo Rosso and Tribuna Autorità, and I feel like I'm privileged because it's wonderful, and I got to know the president, I got to know the Capitano, I got to know many personalities from the club, and to me it's an honor, to be honest.
Absolutely.
It's a huge honor. So every time I go there, I don't take it for granted. I always appreciate it very, very much. And even if sometimes, like this season, the excitement of the Serie A, of competing, we're not competing at the top level, going to the stadium is always an amazing experience.
It is, it is.
There is someone who surprised you more than the others as a person?
Allora, il
She
capitano...
sometimes puts you in difficult situations,
No,
Guy. Hopefully,
No,
with the questions.
because he was ready to pick up your lineup, all-time lineup, but we will talk about it later.
You ask easy questions, the answer is not interesting. You have to put the interviewed a little bit...
True.
With tough questions.
That's why Guy is one of the best.
No.
That interesting answers. I think Zanetti surprised me because he's very easy.
Humble.
He's very humble. He's very easy. He's funny. He talks to you very easily. I got to know some ex-players that are really, really nice. Burtisso, to name one, is a really nice guy. I know he's in Fiorentina now, but I hope he comes back to us with some role in the future. He's a really, really nice guy. I got to know the Wall. He's very, very shy.
That's brilliant. Yeah.
Very, very shy.
Now you understand why I asked him.
So
He knows everybody.
I always said it was a great question.
No, it's a good question. Antonello is a very nice person as well.
Yeah. Guy?
Thomas.
Well, you mentioned, obviously, Zanetti there. Would he be in your all-time dream team, even like a top 5, Marco? Because time, unfortunately, is of the essence, and we're nearly at the end of our show. So maybe a top 5 or a top 3 for you? That's something you can do for me on live?
I try to give you 11.
Go for it. Go for it. I love it. Good man. Good man.
Go.
I agree, Julio Cesar. But I can tell you the ones I've seen. So the ones in the last 30 years. Julio Cesar as a goalkeeper, I take him. On the right side, El Capitano. He would be there. He cannot not be there. In the center, in defense, I put the Wall and. Skriniar, he has been playing amazing, even if for not so many years, but the years he has played is amazing. On the left side, I put Roberto Carlos. He very short experience with us, but amazing player. It sounds crazy not to have Maicon there, but I don't know. When someone gets injured, Maicon is my first sub. I personally love the intelligence of Cambiasso. Cambiasso, to me, makes a difference. He was one of the leading players when we won the triplete. Really smart player in the field. I don't know outside. I don't know him outside the field. In the midfield with him, I put Deki, Il Drago, Stankovic. In the left, even if it wasn't his role, but I would put Djorkaeff.
Okay.
To give 4 midfielders. I'm missing a 4th one. And I think the season that Schneider played when we won the triplete deserves. He would have won the golden
ball, yeah, the Ballon d'Or, yeah.
Golden ball if the rules didn't change that year. The rules changed that year, and he was 3rd. But with the rules of the previous year, he would have won. So he has to be there. I'm missing 2.
Now your attack, the tricky part.
There are some players that you cannot not say. So Ronaldo has to be there.
Okay.
And Bobo, Bobo, I know him personally, and he's a
Like it.
really funny guy, and he was an amazing player. So Bobo.
You see?
Thank you, Marco,
He
for
did
answering
his
the
own
question.
work,
Top
so-
man, top man. I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
missed someone, and I'm gonna think about it now.
All night, all night. You'll be thinking about it. Marco, it's been an absolute pleasure.
It's been a pleasure.
Absolute pleasure.
Thanks for being here, and it's also Pasquetta, the day after Easter, so I know that today...
I'm sober.
Oh, no, I hope so.
It's not here in Italy for the international fans that are watching this live. It's not very common that you're sober in Pasquetta.
On
but
Easter Monday,
for this live, I'm sober. So.
Top man.
Oh,
Love
thank
it.
you for the sacrifice. I'm
Super,
playing.
Marco.
Thank you, Marco, and hope to see you soon in San Siro. And yes,
Fingers
crossed.
crossed and Forza Inter.
Forza
Forza
Inter.
Inter sempre. Ciao.
Ciao
Thank you.
Marco, thank you very
Bye.
much. Another super guest after, I was going to say dopo Bernard, but after Bernard. This is the Italian, you know, Marco, you, the presence, makes me want to speak Italian. I don't know why, I apologise. Anyway, we're unfortunately almost out of time.
Time flies as always. So, we stand up.
Yes.
We have to remind the next matches.
Yes.
This is the
Quickly
calendar.
look at our fixture list before we say goodbye. Obviously, we've got the Champions League tomorrow, then we're back in Serie A action against Monza, and then, of course, as we know, it's going to be back in Champions League action.
Second leg of Inter Benfica.
Yep, the quarterfinals, Empoli, Coppa Italia against Juventus, and then Lazio. So an action-packed April.
Yes, this April will be tough, but we're ready.
We're ready, as
You're
always.
ready, Tom. Our fans are ready. We always had a lot of guests. We talk about everything, or almost, about the next match. We're ready also to say goodbye, unluckily.
Unfortunately, we do have to say goodbye, but it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for your company,
Thomas,
Guy.
thank
I really
you
enjoyed
so
it.
much.
Thank you.
Before to say bye, there is the video hero of the match. Guys, continue to follow us, enjoy, and see you tomorrow. Bye.